before Y2K. My English teacher told me that the best investment you could make was to get as many guns as you can get your hands on and bury them in your yard. For a while, my dad was burying gold or hiding gold in the walls of the house.
What?
Oh, yeah. It was like it was this whole belief system that the Illuminati, that the New World Order was going to, there was this big United Nations conspiracy, and any day they were going to come down from Canada in their black helicopters and they were going to roll in with their tanks heavily. Even Southern Idaho will make fun of Northern Idaho for having, they always try to say it in a nice way. Like, there's a lot of independent minded people up there. A lot of people with a strong independent streak, anti-government lunatics. There's the biggest,
Right.
There's real estate agents that specialize in properties with doomsday bunkers in this area. Like this is like prepper central. Like when everything got weird lately, and I admit, like, it's different here than there. I have some guns, and I got some new ones to go like kind of target shoot. And when I went up to this area where they were gonna like go shooting, it was a vibe of like Red Dawn Wolverines. It was a vibe of like, we fucking waited for this. Like we're ready. Oh, my whole life was waiting for this moment.
This is what, and I told you, Margie, this is what the fuck we do. That's why we prepare.
Exactly.
So good.
Exactly.
Dude, look, I thought about that when this first started happening, because we have a lot of family that live in, a lot of family in Colorado, but also family in Utah. So like I'm versed with that area of that western part of the country.
Sure.
Not a lot of people are familiar with. They think of Colorado, they just know Denver, right? They think of Utah and they know nothing about Salt Lake, but they've heard of Salt Lake, right?
Yeah.
And Idaho's kind of the same way. Like people kind of have this idea of what they might think. And then you go and you're like, wow, to me, I see this unbelievable gap between, like when we go to Salt Lake, when we go up to Midway, when we go up to the mountains and all that stuff, and up by Park City and all that stuff where we have family, you see like an extremism with like very Mormon. It's very heavy. It's very thick. And then you see the polar opposite, which is like so anti everything, anti-religion, anti-family, anti-fucking humanity. Like people that are lone wolves that want nothing to do with anybody, and they coexist in this space, and it's really wild to see. Like it's one of those things that I'm fascinated with because I've never lived in that world. I was in Chicago, in the city, then I went to the suburbs in high school, then I moved out to California. So like I've only known major metro-ish areas. Until I got to go there, it's just a wild thing to see because I guess the transition I wanted to talk about was this guy on the news the other day for Palm Sunday had 1,800 people gather together for this fucking, he still wanted to praise God. And I was like, it's easy to make fun of these people, but also people who've never met these kind of people don't understand. This is not a choice that they're making. Right. It's like, it's inundated. It's been like such a part of their life. You cannot wrap your head around how religion takes precedent over. You could get sick and die. They're like, no, what do you mean? There's no fucking way. Oh yeah, there's just no fucking way.
We have churches that are open around here like that. There was on the news the other day, and it was Southern Idaho was kind of having a reaction, like the news down there of like, what are you guys doing? But it was several state senators or state congressmen in Northern Idaho, one of whom is also a pastor, is just like, nope, you're not arresting me. We're still going to gather. We're still going to do, and basically, but he wasn't saying like this is against God or you're trying to stop, our religion. He was like First Amendment rights. It was all about like government. There's just this extreme paranoia around here of the government trying to take away your rights. And this recent pandemic feeds into that, where all of a sudden the government's telling people like, you got to stay home. And it's very much an attitude, like a knee-jerk reaction of like, you don't fucking tell me what to do. And I grew up, oh my God, when Y2K was about to hit, like where I grew up, I got let out of high school. I grew up in a town of 400 people. My graduating class had 23 kids. Like I grew up super rural.
23 kids?
23 kids.
That's smaller than one classroom that I had.
Oh yeah. My
That's
last couple years of high school, I lived 15 miles outside of this little town. And my sister and I were joking about it was like rural poverty. We essentially lived in a fucking shed. Like I have been in sheds nicer than like the rooms we had out there. And it was this crazy mentality where excuse me, we got let out of high school once to have a militia meeting before Y2K. My English teacher told me that the best investment you could make was to get as many guns as you can get your hands on and bury them in your yard. For a while, my dad was burying gold or hiding gold in the walls of the house.
What?
Oh yeah, it was like it was this whole belief system that the Illuminati, that the New World Order was there was this big United Nations conspiracy, and any day they were going to come down from Canada in their black helicopters, and they were going to roll in with their tanks, and they were going to take everything you've ever had. It was like this insane.
Wow.
So I grew up like Ruby Ridge was an episode we did recently that I probably got a little more emotional than some, and people were surprised I went so hard against this guy. But I'm like, I grew up with this guy. I went to school with this guy's, essentially. This guy's not him literally, but like people like him went to school with their kids, and it's such a bummer where they get so paranoid and they're waiting for the world to end via either like some religious kind of second coming or some man-made just kind of Armageddon situation. And then you see it's so sad where they devote their whole life to that, so they don't go to college, they don't focus on their career, they don't focus on any sense of future, and then eventually they're 60 years old and they have no money and they have no property and they're just angry and bitter and crazy because their whole life was built on this big ending that never came. And so like there was this insane preacher, Hal Lindsey, who's a doomsday preacher, and I fucking hate this guy. He was kind of tied into this, the Weavers who were part of this Ruby Ridge thing, they were big believers in his books and his message. And he was a guy who preached for years in the 70s that the world would not last beyond 1984. And he sold millions of books based on that.
And it didn't, by the way. That is when it all ended, was 84.
And we're all in the Matrix now.
When everything kind of stopped. Everything stopped moving. And yeah.
But like, it's crazy that like, so you'd think in 1985 his career would be over. Like, oh, no. All the people who just wasted opportunities because the world was going to end, they're fucked. But then he writes a new book saying the world's going to end in 1989 or wherever, and he sells 1 million more copies, and he's still alive. He's in his 90s. He's still doing this shit.
Wow.
And I asked my dad, I'm like, my grandpa, his dad was a pastor and was a doomsday pastor. And I'm like, did you know about Hal Lindsey? And he was like, oh my God. He goes, we had all his books. His dad, my grandpa, believed. My dad didn't go to college specifically because he was convinced the world was going to end in 1984. Like
no, that's insane.
And so I've lived around that mentality, and it's so sad where I'm like, God damn it, you guys. Like you're just wasting your lives. But I will say this,
a part of me wants them to be right so bad.
Oh, like to see the end?
Yeah. Like a part of me is so not, I don't believe in it so much, but I'm happy about people's belief systems. Like I think it's great there's conspiracy theorists. I like that people have their own sense of belief of everything. I think it's nice that we have all these different perspectives. It's good that we don't all believe the same thing.
Sure.
But a piece of me who is a non-believer of that kind of shit wants to be wrong a little bit, because I would go, well, they were right. Like a piece of me wants to go, the crazy guy was right. Yeah, it'd be fucking wild to see, even though I don't want it to happen.
True.
I just think that's like, I don't have anybody in my direct circle that was ever a prepper or any of that stuff, but I have friends that are extreme conspiracy theorists, and they teeter sometimes on the idea of being like
Sam Tripoli.
No, dude, I said friends, but I love Sam. He just gets into that world. The problem I think exists with Sam is a good example of many people that I've met over the years is like, I know Sam as a guy.
Yeah. He's a great dude.
He's a good dude.
Yeah,
he's a good dude. I know he believes in a lot of that stuff, but sometimes people believe in it to a degree that makes even them get scared. Like I'll give you a good example.
Okay.
This is crazy. The movie The Joker.
Oh yeah,
Did you watch it?
We keep meaning to, and
I
know I have to see it.
Well,
I've heard it's great.
It's so rich with emotion, and I will say this: when you watch regular movies, shoot up movies, and gun movies, and death movies, there's a score to it. There's a soundtrack, and music does something to death that it desensitizes it to us,
right?
You know. But when you watch violence in deafening silence, it affects you in a very different way.
Yeah.
It hits you harder. It's more vivid. It's more like, it's lucid. It's creepy. It's like this, it's dreamlike. You're like, oh my God, is this real? Is this fake? And after I watched The Joker, I remember walking to the car. We were walking to the car, and I turned to my wife and I was like, I feel like that I lost my mind a little bit during the movie. Like I got so in depth into it, it scared me a little bit.
Okay.
And because my brain was running wild with thoughts over like, wow, do I know people like this? Do I associate with people like this? it's so based in a root of reality, the movie. For the first time in a long time, superhero movies tend to have such a sense of fantasy.
Sure.
This one had so much reality that it hits you gotta fucking watch it. But I think about people like that are conspiracy theorists or a little bit disturbed or bunker banditos and all these people that are like, sometimes I think, well, they've probably scared themselves into that reality sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the prepping made them go all the way. It was like they were close. Now a few things like COVID push them right over the edge. Oh yeah. You know, like now it's a fact. Now it's a fact.
God, what a weird way to, I mean, it would
Can
be
you still buy guns by the way?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.